Hello and welcome to another episode of the Course in Miracles inspired podcast, May the Course be with you, where I, Leon Joel Russell, get to speak to the people that I love about the system that we love. Guys, how are you? Great to see you both.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Leon. Yeah.
Great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Such a treat to have you both here and to be able to talk about September, and you bring in Course in Miracles Festival to the UK for the first time. I'm one of many people looking forward to it, and I know you get a lot of people who say, well, why should we go somewhere in person when you could say that the whole thing is irrelevant if I'm not really here and there's only one of us and all the metaphysics that we know that the course teaches us about. So I thought that would be a helpful way to start the conversation. Whoever wants to jump in, please feel inspired.
KironJ, you wanna have a go?
Okay. Thank you. I think it's a really helpful question right off the bat to go straight into it. Because I think we're here in level confusion. If we say, don't need to go, I'm not a body anyway. I mean, it might be true. Somebody might not need to go at all. However, to just look at the absolute teaching for our decision making might be a bit of a limited way of going about things. It's quite true. The Course says God is, nothing else is. Atonement principle states nothing ever happened. We're not here. We're not having this Zoom call. There are no festivals, and on and on. And all of this is absolutely true. You know, this is the beauty and the wonder of the Course, that it is pointing so radically to the truth. However, that is not the only level that the Course works on. It also meets us where we seem to be and asks us to use what we seem to think is so real as a classroom. So it doesn't say, go to your cave and never come out. It says, look at what you've made. Look at the relationships you've made and practice forgiveness there. And I see the festival as a beautiful example of using what we've made for holy purpose. So it may not be for everybody, and guidance is everything. If you're not guided to come, don't come. There would be no point. However, if we listen and we are guided, there is this most tremendous buffet of miracle opportunities waiting for us. It's an immense field of joining. Everywhere you look, there are others that know the Course and want to practice it and want to learn from you. You want to learn from them. Yeah, it's spectacular. I absolutely love them. So I would say, do come to this fantastic classroom for the healing of our minds, if you feel guided.
That's a super sweet invitation and wrap up. The metaphysics of A Course in Miracles say miracles are needed for the state of mind that we are finding ourselves in. And that's other than revelation. Revelation is I completely remember who I am. I am in a revelation of truth. And Jesus says that's not very practical for the state of mind we're in. Practical are miracles because they correct the error in the mind and they inspire actions. So an action is here. An action happens in the world where we believe to be. And coming to a festival would be an action. You know, setting up a festival is certainly action. And so the whole festival is about what A Course in Miracles teaches. It comes together by its principles because we join minds like we do now to remind ourselves of the teaching and that we have a very active role in the whole thing. So when we come together in the purpose of hearing and understanding, practicing and experiencing the teaching, um, it's really like a buffet. Like, you know, you show up, like all you have to do is to show up. That's already, a big learning step probably because lots of hindrances, blocks, resistances may arise. That's actually very likely that they arise. So, if you actually manage to show up at that festival, that means that you're actually very miracle-minded and applying forgiveness. And a festival to me is a funnel of focus on truth as well as a lens. So it highlights the blocks that we may bring, but it funnels our focus of mind to the present joining. And that's also the title that we choose, Remembering the Kingdom. That's within us, and we will remember when we're really ready to join. So we don't know really how this works, but Jesus says you don't have to understand it. All it needs is your little willingness to see your brother and yourself innocent. And, a festival is a great way to, it's almost like an experiment, you could say. Is it actually working? Like, am I seeing the kingdom within you and within me? What does that even, how is that supposed to look like? I've got no idea, but I'm open for it. So it's like a feedback loop. Like, am I there? Am I joining? Am I experiencing it? Am I expanding in my mind? So yeah, it's an acceleration in a way, I would say.
Amazing. I'll tell you what's coming to mind as well, listening to you both, is that beautiful surprise of possibility and things you hadn't considered and thought of. And I'm thinking about a story that one of Ken Wapnick's friends, she was due to meet him somewhere, and she turned up quite flustered. She was late, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm late," like that. And he goes, "Oh, who did you meet, Diane?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I didn't. I just tried to come here as quickly as possible. And he's like, "Well, no, what happened?" Oh, well, this happened and that, and there was a mechanic, and he tried to help me with my car. And it's like, "Oh, okay, so you thought you were supposed to come here and be here on time at 8 p.m. or whatever. You got here at 8:30 because you were meant to bump into this mechanic on the way and have a conversation. And however that joining panned out in a way that you couldn't predict and you can't see the overall ripples from, that was part of the plan, you know. And for me, like the excitement of knowing that I'm going to meet some of my online friends for the first time in person, quite a number of people as well, you know, it's people from other countries, and really looking forward to that. And then equally, what I don't know, you know, you come away and you think, you know, I know this from when I went to see Keith Kavanagh in London. The Miracle Network did an event going to see Keith, but also you come away going, wow, I didn't know I was going to meet that person. We're going to have this lovely conversation and da da da. So you put yourself in the place thinking, there's an outcome that you're aware of, and yet there's all sorts of greater outcomes as well that you weren't
Mm.
contemplating.
No. I find festival days so very, very rich. Yeah, I just wake up and kind of know the program, kind of know the form, breakfast, lunch, dinner, workshops, talks, but that doesn't come anywhere near what the experience will be. And just to allow it to happen, for me, keeping in my mind that this is an outward picture of an inward condition. So I just keep looking at this inward condition with delight and gratitude. And sometimes there's deep processing going on. It's not everybody walking around with a great big smile all the time, although there are lots of smiles in my experience. There can be some releasing and some painful things coming up.
Mm.
But then there is the support for it. Then there is the understanding of it, which is so beautiful. The whole package works together. And I just watch this going on morning, noon, and night. And sometimes for me, it's about focusing on the pictures, on the people, and their laughter and their light and their willingness and their wisdom. And oh, this is all mine. Mind, not KironJ's, mine. And then sometimes one of the things I really love to do is be in a room of people when there's a talk or a workshop going on. And I do pay attention to what the speaker's saying or what we're being asked to do. And I also come to the mind and appreciate what it feels like to be with all these other minds, as Andreas says, focused in a very concentrated way. It is spectacular. I absolutely love it. And if my mind was more open, I could have that experience right now at home. And sometimes, I do have very powerful experiences and working with people in smaller groups. But there's something for me, and I don't think I'm going to be the only one to experience this, that being with all these minds focused on forgiveness to some extent or other is this glimpse of heaven, this miniature of heaven come to meet us. And inside is all singing and dancing. I don't tend to do much singing and dancing physically these days. It's just not what I'm called to do. But in the mind, the truth of me is absolutely singing and dancing with this connection. And I would love anybody that's not been to a festival before to ask themselves, would I like to experience that? And if the answer is yes, all means are given. Come.
I like that the focus of all of us is so much on the experience rather than, I mean, we're touching on the idea there are people from other countries and speakers from other countries. So, like, superficially, we could say, hey, there's, this teacher and that teacher and this one and that one, and they're all going to be there at one place, and I'm going to see them all at once over the course of a few days. But that may be attractive for a moment, but our conversation already shows what's way more attractive is actually the experience of joining. Like, no matter who's speaking, like I might pick up uh, something that's valuable for me from a workshop or from a talk. But there's so much opportunity to meet myself, in a hallway, at dinner, getting a coffee. having a smoke in a smoker's corner. Actually, there's, apparently there are epiphanies happening in the smoker's corner. So who knew, like we didn't plan that. So it's an opportunity to meet oneself and to just see, wow, my thinking and even my understanding of A Course in Miracles is is limited, but here is someone offering me a much broader, more way freer perspective on how I see myself and the world and my place in the overall plan. And it's always geared towards release, towards inner freedom, towards healing, joining, uh, miracles, friendship that lasts because we're walking together with mighty companions all of a sudden. People marry actually after festivals. By the way, I don't promise that this is going to happen for everyone, but it does happen that you're going to meet your, learning partner there. Um, yeah, so you don't know what's maybe it's very quiet, maybe you come there and expect dancing and something fireworks of internal insights, but maybe you just become really peaceful.
Mm.
And that's the greatest thing we can actually find. So in that sense, there's no promise what is going to happen, but I think everybody's best intent to apply the teachings as best as we can in that period of time creates let's use the word field,
Mm.
creates a field that we're all part of, that we're all kind of co-expanding and co-opening, that allows more light to come in. And I feel honored. Like I feel honored and blessed, and it's incredible that we can do something like that here on this plane.
Beautiful points, because we get to see the best of one another in that setting as well, in as much as I'm reminded of experiences where your attention is divided with things that are on the table at the time, and it's like, you got your day job, you got this, you got that, you got that, and you put all of that to a side. You go to this place and you can give full attention, and it's like a holiday approach. It's like you leave everything at home, come, and not only, say if you're on an aeroplane of people who all had a shared purpose of going to sit around a swimming pool and just read books and listen to music on their headphones and relax. The shared purpose of coming together in the festival will obviously be to focus upon forgiveness, joining, sharing. There'll be lots of healing opportunities in terms of you might be the voice box for healing to come through you. You might receive healing from other people. It's this thing of like, it's always bigger. If you try and localize it and pin it down to what you think, it's always going to be much bigger than that.
Exactly.
And you will come away, I think, making the point about the fact that you might be quiet. I think that's a really, really lovely angle as well, because it highlights that. I thought I was going the shops to get some milk and bread. Turns out I bumped into somebody and we had a really deep conversation. I still got the milk and bread, but that wasn't the reason.
Exactly.
I think this immersion that we have in a festival, more than a holiday that can kind of wear off. You might go and have 2 weeks in the sun and it's all very nice and shoo and relax, and then 3 days back to work, or you're back in whatever it was again. But this kind of coming out of our day-to-day life can forever influence our determination to heal, our willingness to heal. It can set us on a new trajectory of healing. You know, the Course talks about a miracle as picking us up off the timeline and putting us down further on. A festival can do exactly the same thing. It can be such an intense experience, which is the mind choosing an intense experience, that something is shifted forever. And so we come back to the job, the partner, the family, the children, the whatever. Oh, what happened? You didn't go to a festival, but oh, it's looking very different now. It can do, of course, as Andreas says. There's no promises because this is all our mind's decision. But the potential is there. One of the Course's major objectives is to save time. It says there are, so many different paths, but this one, its particular characteristic is that it will save time because it's so deep and so radical. And I see festivals as potentially fulfilling the same function. They can save time, pick us up, put us down somewhere else. So if you're interested in saving time, that's another reason to come.
While having a good time.
Well, exactly.
It's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I like what you share, KironJ, because like it also shows what you've experienced at the festivals, right? Like you wouldn't share what you share if that wouldn't have been your experience. And actually wonder what your takeaway from the festivals was. Because for me, like every time it seems to be something different. I just know that something has changed within me, um, and that I've been given something that sometimes I can't quite put my finger on. But yeah, it would probably be something I know. I know that this works, and it fosters that certainty on a deeper level. This actually it works. Oh my God, it's not just a philosophy. It's not just something I believe, and it does work. It is true. A Course in Miracles is true. Truth is true. Nothing else is true.
Yeah.
And maybe because we are coming together as bodies, I can see in others it works for them as well. Like if I sit on my sofa and I read it, I'm like, yeah, okay, like I have the experience, the holy instant, everything's beautiful, peace of God, nice. But it's thank you, Jesus. But if I see others joining in it, it somehow has a different quality of me, moving something within me. Oh my God, it's working for them too. It's actually, I'm not just a lunatic on a sofa that has access to this. It works for the guy there. There's a CEO, there's a whatever, like a student, or there's a housewife. It works for all of them when you apply what it teaches. So yeah, anyway, like this is one of the many takeaways if I had to use words for it, but I wonder what it would be for you, KironJ. Like if you could find the gist of that, like what did it do for you?
It does for me. It nourishes me beyond all my understanding.
Mhm.
It nourishes me deeper than I can understand in a way that's beyond my understanding. I feel so nourished, so strengthened by what's going on. And it's far more than the sum of its parts. It's not just talks and workshops and speakers and miracle buddies, and it's so much more than that. And it gives me that so much more that is beyond my human understanding, beyond my human description, but it's not beyond my knowing. I know the gift of it, and I would not want to miss it. Yeah. Yeah.
I got the word accelerant coming to my mind listening to you guys. And also I was reminded of an experience from going to see a therapist many years ago to part of my own healing journey. And I remember I used to come out of this place, and because we'd been talking about the mind essentially for an hour, I used to come out of this building and then walk to the train station, and every person that I could see, I didn't look on them and see a tall man, a short woman, a child, two people together. What I saw was how they held themselves physically and how that was a reflection of their state of mind. Whether somebody looked like they had the world on their shoulders, whether someone had their chin up and they were feeling the sun on their face. And I'm just thinking about the mirroring aspect of experience and how we see our we see our frame of mind reflected back at us in the world. And if we are immersed in 4 days of people who share our passion for wanting to undo our wrong beliefs and remember the kingdom, how can we not dial into that energy? And when it's on the scale of a large number of people, the mirror is reflective of that in sort of scope and depth. And the intention, it's just like the magnification of intention. It's like, why are you going there? You're going there. It's interesting because you say, well, I'm going there because it's going to be lovely. I've seen the building. Oh my God, the grounds look amazing. We're going to have lovely food. We're going to have yeah, all of that is true. But it's like, why are you
It's
going
true.
there?
Yeah.
You're going
Yeah.
there on a really deep level. And
Mm.
we're not like, we're not dipping our toe in with A Course in Miracles at that stage and going, "Oh, I've heard this might be all right. I'm not sure if this thing works." It's like we know that it's an incredible pointing to the inner peace, the direct experience, the direct path. Um, so we know that we're coming together with people who also know that, or who are making inquiries around that same question. But one of the things with the course as well is where we get used to saying this is a self-study course because it's in the literature that comes with the book itself. What we all learn is, yeah, of course it's self-study because there's only the self and there's only one self. You metaphysics, yeah, got it. But equally, anyone who's studied with more than themselves, be that a couple of people or a group or whatever, the material leaps off the pages. It's animated with people giving it a voice, with you being able to hear somebody else recite a passage and not have to say it internally in your mind. Just that change of the experience of the vantage point makes the material come to life. So I think that's certainly something that's registering and resonating for me, is the idea that people with that shared interest, the shared passion, um, and that kind of what we know to be technically almost a contradiction. Well, I thought it was self-study. You sit on your own in a room and just read it. Or you get together with lots of other people and you learn to see it differently through their eyes and to see yourself differently in the mirror of the collective, if you like.
Yeah.
I'd like to offer something about this self-study and being with bodies hack, because of course it's something that can be talked about quite a lot. How about if we understand the self-study as it always being about our own mind, our own seeming mind? So if we're sitting at home on the sofa with our book, it's more clearly self-study. It's me and I'm opening and I'm reading and whatever. Put yourself in a room of perhaps hundreds at the German festivals. There's hundreds of people in the same room. I would say it's still self-study. There's no one who can come in to your mind and heal it. Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, you name it. No one can come and heal our mind. They can be lights in our mind. They can be invitations to heal. They can be demonstrations. This is what our Savior, our brother, can be. But it's always my experience, my seeming experience, and my choice to accept the atonement. So the trap, I see it, is to go to meetings, going to festivals, going to any joinings, and thinking that it, or perhaps subconsciously thinking, that's somehow an escape from doing the inner work that we all need to do if we want to heal and awaken and find peace and love and joy. The real thing, not the pseudo ego versions. So a festival does not negate self-study as far as I'm concerned. It's an invitation to be in the festival as present as you can be, with the idea, my one responsibility is to accept the atonement for myself. And how fantastic. There is my brother, being my savior, not by showing me probably my anger or my judgment or my sickness, but showing me my love and my light and my wisdom. This is so beautiful in the festival. Our brother can be our savior in a way that may not happen so much in everyday life. And I celebrate that. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's like an informal constellation in a way, you know. I get to meet the guys who are helping me, and because it is a self-study, it's not even up to us to choose, is it or is it not? You know, it is my responsibility to choose again, to choose a miracle instead of fear. And a gathering like that may accelerate that I become conscious of my escape mechanisms. So, you know, we mentioned it earlier, you know, there might be a painful moment coming up because I've been avoiding it for some time. But it comes up quick and gently, and right there is someone who's not affirming my error, but standing with me in the correction.
Hmm.
And this is enormous. Like people are, it's such you moved. Like you see, wow, oh my God, I haven't seen it consciously. Now I see it, and there's someone with me in the process, helping me go through it, through the thing that kept me bound and or how I kept myself unconsciously bound in hell. And here I am moving through. So it's the a whole package. And I'm sure that, well, no, I'm sure I know that the Holy Spirit is guiding us through and no encounter is by chance. So we're meeting the right people for our own healing in a very accelerated way. And I think this is just what we need. You know, I think if you who are listening to this or watching this have if you have the prayer, okay, please accelerate my path, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, that might be your answer. Like use one of the festivals, for example, to accelerate, Okay, it's some time in. I'm sure he won't, stop your healing until the festival starts. You'll probably make use of time fairly quickly, but um, if there's a little willingness for you to accelerate, I'm sure he'll point you to something, and it may be the festival. And just to give you an example, like I think it was a year ago that two ladies came to a German festival and they were friends. And after the first day, there was so much in their grievances that they both decided to drive back home. So they did. So there was no openness to forgive the grievance. It was, they blamed the festival. The festival was to blame that they didn't feel well. So they drove back home. The family looked at them and were like, "What are you doing here? You're going back." So it was their family sending them back to the festival because they had unfinished business
Oh, God.
in their healing work. And they said it was so hard to actually go back to their families. Like it was really going against the stream in a sense. But I thought how wonderful that there must have been a little willingness to heal. Otherwise, they wouldn't have shown up in the first place. And they came back. They admitted that they were in a grievance. They wanted to choose again, and the whole veil, the whole darkness lifted from their minds, and they were just glad that this thing, the thought, whatever they were cherishing, that they could let go of that. And yeah, you never know how it's going to use you, but thank you for considering the opportunity, the possibility, and I think that already goes a long way.
Mhm. Beautiful.
We never know.
At the Greek festival last year, um, I had just a very slight kind of altercation with a brother. Something wasn't completely okay. It wasn't a major thing, but there was a sense of, this isn't quite comfortable. Did I say it right? Da, 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 da. And I think in normal life, I'd have let it be, let the dust settle. Um, uh, I may not have felt the confidence to go and talk to this brother. But because we were at the festival, I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I'm doing here to do exactly this kind of thing. So I went up to this lady and said, I would really like to find a way of deeper connection with you.
Mm.
Just like that, I would like to find it. I'm sorry. I think I might have been a bit bleh. And everything melted away. Big hugs, tears. It was so beautiful. So absolutely exquisitely beautiful. And that told me just what the power of forgiveness is and how beautiful it is. And I was so grateful that I didn't wait to find the right opportunity. I just went straight up there and talked to her. Obviously, that was a mind decision, but in my experience, it was so helped by the festival surroundings. And I've seen her again. She tends to go to festivals, and all is hunky dory. All is absolutely fine. So, yeah.
It's amazing because it's not. There's no hard sell to the scenario here. It's just creating a window to look in on the experience based upon a collaborative perspective from experience. So if somebody's got a question mark, they can feel into it. And not only can they think, do I want to do that? Because we're not just necessarily talking about the upcoming festival in the UK in September, because obviously this is an expanding thing from country to country. on an annual basis. It might be somebody who watches our conversation in a year's time who's got this question bubbling around in their mind, but they haven't got the experience. If I think back over the last 30 odd years, some of the most incredible experiences that I've had at festivals, because being a musician and a fan of music and somebody who plays at festivals as well, my memory is peppered with wonderful times, and a lot of it to do with the fact that I was able to just put the world to one side for a day, 2 days, 3 days. And it also reminds me as well of being a musician in the studio. So when you go into a recording studio and you're thinking about music, and you've got, let's say, 8 hours in there out of the day, whereas normally I'm doing all sorts of stuff in my day-to-day life. Let's say I had 8 minutes to think about songwriting. In the studio, when I'm in there for 8 hours, that you just dial into that way of thinking, to that frequency. And then if I go home, come back the next day, go home, come back the next day, clock all those hours up. There was one particular time where I think I was in the studio for 3 weeks. And come the second week, I promise you that I couldn't sleep because all I could think about was music, because I'd just tuned my thinking into that creative mode. And I just used to turn the light out where I was staying, and I had a notepad and a pen next to the bed, and I just let my body relax as much as possible. Wasn't flustered or anxious about the fact that I wasn't sleeping. And then I'd just like have an inspiration and just sit up, turn the light on, get my pad, write something down, turn the light off, lie down again. Um, and I'll often say to people, after a couple of weeks, if you said to me, Leon, would you like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee? I'd have probably turned around and said, oh, D minor, please. All I could do was think about that, because I just tuned into it, just because I was allowed to, because it facilitated that experience. And a little bit like echoing what I said about when I used to go to the therapist. When you dial into something for a prolonged period, and of course I always like to mention mind reaches to itself. Lovely little phrase, well, tiny little sentence, but incredible, and a lot of people's experience in life. I sometimes make the analogy of horse riding and say, like, some people have an experience where they feel they're on horseback and they've just barely got hold of the reins, and this horse is taking them wherever it wants to take them, up hills and across the plain, and they're terrified. And then other people realize that they're holding the reins, and the horse is responding to their commands, and the mind reaches to itself. Once you're directed towards the understanding that this device, this tool, however we want to describe it, is something that you can harness the power of through being directed towards that, changed my entire life, which is why I can talk about the course with passion, because it changed my life. It gave me the toolkit, the vocabulary, the articulation of saying, this is what's going on. This is why you've had this experience. If you wanted to make a decision to not repeat that decision, maybe try this. And it reminds me of KironJ, a lot of the time when you talk, there's something very natural but considered, again, in this thing that's not a hard sell. It's like you'll often start by saying, how about we look at it like this, or perhaps the leader, and I think those evolutionary tweaks in our language happen incrementally, but they're relative to and they're a reflection of the fact that we do hone our vocabulary down as we go through this process, because we're realizing that the parameters of decisions and the consequences and effects.
Well, Leon, that's beautiful. Thank you for bringing in that aspect. And I think for anyone who is still watching this video, there's a high commitment to the teachings. And, it also says that there's something speaking beyond the concepts that is interesting and attractive. And I would just suggest, if you consider coming to the festival, or you could do that anywhere actually, but during a festival, you have the possibility to see things unfold faster. And maybe you've heard all the teachings, maybe you've seen all the teachers, maybe you've heard all the music, and you've been to nice places. Uh, but when we're in the program that teaches us miracle mindedness, why not use that setting to be available for miracles? That you are being used for miracles, not for, to help the other guys, but to really be used in the sense of giving is receiving. Whatever I receive, I give. Whatever I give, I receive. And to throw yourself into a pool or a sandbox, whatever image works for you, where he can use you, where you are in a very receptive environment for approaches, for contact, for sharing with a bit less defense mechanisms active, to put it carefully. Maybe, there are people who are really, really open, and maybe you're really open and want to be more open with less defense. But like, what happens if you're just there, you just stand there and say, Jesus, Holy Spirit, use me? I don't know how, but I want to have fun. Let me. I'm already surprised what you're going to do with me, or who you're bringing me together with. And I think it's just a beautiful way to flow, because it's not about sitting there and listening. It's not about, going to have lunch or dinner and then, tick off the boxes, but to really see he wants to use you, and it's fantastic. And you can even bring that into this. This is like, to me, this is the biggest surprise, that like, if I look back on my progression, how I am in this world through teaching A Course in Miracles and through being at the festivals, um, I see that what I experience there, I can actually apply that in my normal life, quote unquote. That it actually works, that he is guiding me in a way that I can be that open with others without scaring them. Uh, I don't have to speak coarse language to have a joining with the ice cream lady, or to talk to my tax agent in a very non-defensive way, and that miracles are actually natural. But sometimes, again and again, it might need those frames that we give each other, like a festival, for example, where we dare to step over our known boundaries and just to be a bit more open than I ever was, and to see what happens. And I just see I'm totally safe. I'm safe, I'm held. There's no attack, there's no punishment, there's just gratitude and expansion. Wow, I've experienced that now, and I can take that to other situations. So yeah, use it. It's really your festival. It's your frame.
Something's coming up. That's beautiful, Andreas. Yes, let's acknowledge that first. Yeah. Yeah, just beautiful. And I don't have such a long festival history as you do, but my festival history, my experiences are exactly that. There's something that happens there that I can then apply to my normal life, and I'm so grateful. Something's just popping up, and it feels it might be helpful to mention. Stop me if you don't want to go down this tack. Um, um, but a question that seems to be there is about the different teachers and their range of teaching styles, their range of teaching understandings. And why should we be interested in that? Could be a question. Why do I spend all this money, go all that way, and four of those teachers I wouldn't give the time of day to? Might be a thought. Or I don't know them. Who are these Germans coming over here? I don't know them. That could be another thought. Yeah. And how I see that is not in a problem box at all. I find it such a fascinating richness that whenever you get a gaggle of teachers together, you're going to get a whole range of things going on. They say it differently, they present it differently. Sometimes what they say might be contradicting. In my view, the course or what the previous teacher said, there can be all this going on. And I see the gift of this as a kind of sonar sounding as to my understanding of the course. Coming back to the atonement principle, my responsibility is to know how this mind needs to be corrected, how this mind needs to understand A Course in Miracles, not as gospel absolute truth, but what's useful for this mind. And in the role of the teacher, I hope that what's useful for this mind has some use for other minds, not all minds, because I'm in this row of teachers and some will appreciate what I say, some won't. And I see that as all potentially miraculous. If we can be with our brothers, talking about A Course in Miracles and not saying how we see it, not presenting it as we particularly would present it maybe, and celebrate that this is a mind opening and understanding it perfectly. And through my discernment, oh yeah, that resonates with me. Oh, no, that doesn't quite resonate with me. I know better how this mind can receive the teaching. So I love it all. I love to see all the differences, if there are. I've yet to come across a lineup of teachers that are uniform. There's usually quite a range, and it's always blessing, as far as I'm concerned. And I hope that might be the experience of people who come to this festival or any festival. They can be curious and interested. Oh, how are they going to do it? Oh, yes, I like that. Oh, no. Not judgment, just aha. That says something to me. And thank you, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, and Leon, I wonder, like you signed up as a musician as well to bring the gift of music to the festival. What made you follow the inkling or the call? Like, can you remember what that was? Was it like, "Oh, I want to meet those guys, or I just want to, offer something as well? What was it that sparked your passion? And
Brilliant, yeah. So I tell you what it is. Obviously, I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to. I'm just going to say it, man. It's like I don't care. I know that I'm a mind, and I've never left home. I'm looking forward to seeing people.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to hugs. I'm going to get to meet some of my friends from America, and like you, Andreas, from Germany. KironJ all the way over there in Norwich, about 2 hours away.
Yeah.
um, and I love that. I've had loads and loads of beautiful experiences at festivals, and I've got memories of like school trips where you think about like how I went to Edinburgh when I was like 10 years old with the school, and all my school colleagues, my school friends, we were wearing our normal clothes and we went to the castle and we had this incredible experience and we stayed in a little hotel. And I can still remember the feeling of that to this day. And it transfers across all these other experiences that I've had through music. And also with music, for me, being a form of communication where I give myself over. I have this like improvisational form, or it becomes a form, and I call it active listening, which is not an exclusive term to music. It can, it's obviously very transferable to us as students of the course or people who lean into any form of guidance. So, what I experience through music, which I do each night, especially at the moment as I'm making preparations for September, is I have this hour every evening where I'm poised, set myself to listen, feel into what's going to come through this instrument and the instrument I'm playing, and then that can't help but focus my attention in on the moment, because I'm not playing something from the past. So obviously with music, you refine something through repetition. You learn it, you play it once, you play it twice, you play it 100 times, then your body plays it automatically for you. But you're still referring to like a template from the past. So with this type of active listening and this type of improvisationally based playing, I can only be in the moment. And then after I've done that for an hour, and I'm like light as a feather. And again, in terms of like that might be referring to the music, the way that I listen in for improvisational melody. Also, then what starts to happen is sometimes I'll be like, what's the singing going to be over the top? And they'll be like, hush your beak, you be quiet, And I say to myself, listen, and I'll keep playing instrumentally, and then I'll go, listen, like that, and then I'll go start to hear what the vocal melody is. That suits going on top of the music. So I just have this incredible experience where I forget the world, and my attention is just completely consumed by sound, which is coming from a place of I don't know. It's absolutely incredible. So to want to share that, a lot of the time with my musical performances, I saw a guy the other day who plays a lot in the pubs and the clubs, and he said to me, "Do you do that?" And I was like, "No." My thing has to be like rows of chairs, and often it'll be like you can hear somebody drop a pin in there because everybody's just quiet, and they're taking advantage of the fact that if they just relax and dial into this sound, they can go on this inner journey where they forget about everything. Then they come out after an hour of that and just, they just feel completely cleansed. And I think it's important to remember, like, what do we have this thing in psychology these days with like microdosing? So you've got somebody who's been depressed for 10 or 15 years. And if it's like a dial on a radio, the dial's just gone round and the needle just sits in this really low frequency point of just depression. They can't crack out of it. They can't see beyond this tiny little bandwidth of like, what's it all for? Who, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll go to a controlled environment where people look after them and they'll give them, I think they use um, like mushrooms and things, or they call it plant medicine these days. You know, years ago, people would have just said that these were just like natural highs or something. And then in this environment, somebody will be laid down, very comfortable. They might put some gentle music for them. There'll be someone sitting right next to them. They can hold their hand if they want. They talk to them about what feelings are coming up in their body and in their mind and visualizing. And they're given a tiny, tiny little bit of whatever it is that they take. And that dial just goes dunk out. And then they leave. You know, they're not supposed to go there all day every day. But they come out of this place. I think they're quite popular in Holland and places that are forward thinking. And they've had this huge shift that they weren't going to get out of on their own, because the way the mind works, when you do dial into that frequency and you get stuck there and that becomes your default setting, sometimes you can have a little bit of joy that takes you up a notch or two and then you come down again, or it might get a little bit worse, but the margins are very small. And in that scenario, the way they use that these days as an alternative medicine, that's a really good example of just like dialing into something that just gives you a kick up the bum, so to speak, puts you elsewhere. And that's what I experience with the music, and the opportunity to share that with other people and see if they have that same experience, and also to take advantage of them as a mirror to come back and say, well, it was like this for me, or it didn't do this for me, or it did do that. Or, you know, a lot of the times as a musician as well, you might think that the song everybody will lean towards might be something that's fixed in your mind, and then you'll be very, very surprised that someone will come back and tell you, oh, I really like this one. It's that can be a real eye opener as well. So the chance to have that experience myself, to share that with other people, and to meet lots of my online friends in person in a beautiful part of England, in a lovely building with lovely grounds, and to not have to go to work for 4 days.
They have good coffee. I don't know.
Great.
And it's all for free. Coffee's for free. Maybe that, that caught someone right there. Coffee for free. All right, I'm going. That was my tipping point. I'm going. No, I'm kidding. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Leon. That's beautiful. For reflection.
What are you looking forward to? Do you have like do you have a workshop that you have in mind, or do you turn up and feel inspired? How much preparation? You're both doing a teaching, aren't you?
That's where we differ. We're the same, but that one point we differ. I'm just happy to be there and to
Okay.
experience the whole thing, and the teaching will come as it comes, and
Yeah.
I'm always surprised and I love it, and I just take it all in, expand it. I'm grateful for every moment of joining, and I just want to see how, I don't know, there's something within me um, that is so excited and so curious to see how all of this is coming together and aligned into that one direction. And um, I don't know, I couldn't find the right word for that yet. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like opening a room. I know a room will open. I know it will be great. It will work anyway. I'm not worried about will it work or not. It will open up and it will expand. And I'm how do you call these people? Someone who helps giving birth,
Midwives.
midwife. Yeah, it's like having the honor of being a midwife and being born at the same time. So something like that. Like that's like, oh my God, we can do something like that here. That's amazing. I'm in.
Brilliant. KironJ, what about you?
Well, yeah, well, it's the same but a different form.
Sure.
I would say the form is that I do a lot of preparation. It's just ideas come, usually quite a long way ahead of something. Like, oh, this is the moment to start taking notes,
Mm.
and notes come. And I love that this is the way that this mind works because I have an opportunity to be with these ideas, this format, a lot. Maybe it's spiritual greediness, I don't know, but I so,
Abundance.
yeah, abundance, that's better. Abundance. So I get to feel into it and feel into it and feel into it again, and then see a slightly different angle, and then see this little bit fleshed out and that little bit moved somewhere else. All the time, my mind is healing. So a lot, I focus on whatever it is, and I accept the healing. I notice the resistance to the healing, and I go through all kinds of processes, which are very, very powerful for this mind. And then when it comes to what seems to be the day, the workshop, the talk, uh, I feel like I am soaked in the ideas. And it's not about rigidly adhering to what's being given, because quite often things change. You know, the preparation is for the healing of this mind, for the soaking, and very often it's quite similar on the day. But I'm always completely open to be showing how it changes, because I can still be for this mind. So it's still a curiosity and an adventure of, oh, now I am standing here with these others. How is this going to look? And something happens. I feel yet again there's a creative something going on, and it's absolutely a collaboration. A lot of my work is inform collaboration. I'm most drawn to inviting others into experiences. And of course, if you're talking for an hour, you're inviting someone into an experience. But the way it works here is to offer an exercise or a healing process or question and answer or something so that the form looks like a collaboration. And I love, love, love that. So I've got two experience. My talk's going to be kind of experiential as well at the festival, because of course I know the rough form. Um, and yeah, I'm really, really happy to be soaking, preparing, opening, healing, and then do it on the day.
Super. Thank you.
Love it, love it, love it.
Hey, thank you, guys. I think for me, it's time to get my son to bed.
Mm.
Yeah.
He probably won't agree, but a responsible parent, I think, might be the time of the day.
Of course, you're an
Wrap.
hour later, so yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely lovely conversation.
there he is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciated to spend this time with you both. Thank you very much indeed. Hey,
Hi.
Hello.
Dad.
Hello, hello.
No.
No, time for bed.
Sweet dreams, yeah?
Bist du Träume, Joshua?
Yeah.
Guten Morgen.
Thank you so
Gut
much.
geschlafen? Is that no good schlaf or something like that, isn't it? Good
Schlafgut.
Schlafgut. I always get it the wrong way around. Schlafgut. Yeah.
Schlafgut.
All I know is Stupsnauser. Is this a German word?
Yes.
Stupsnauser for somebody who's like wee. So dankjewel. I know a little bit of Dutch.
That's Dutch.
Slaap lekker. Dankjewel.
Mhm.
Tot straks.
Was?
Kannst du was auf Englisch?
Bis.
Sag mal was.
Was denn?
I think it's time for bed.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Guys.
Thank you so much.
Was soll ich denn sagen?
Yeah. Thank you, Leon. It's been a great pleasure. And thank you, Andreas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
Was
both.
sagen?
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend, Kalini.
That was Greek.
Kalinikta.
Bis dann.
Lots of love, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
At the
so much.
festival.